platform where we reflect and celebrate the journey of INYAS. And gracing this inaugural session, we proudly have with us the Vice President of INSA, Professor Devang Khakhar, Sub-Secretary, Professor Sandeep Verma, and Professor VijayRaghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, who has joined us. Thanks for joining and a very warm welcome to you all from INYAS community. INYAS has been working well despite the pandemic situations in last 2 years. It is just matter of working either in online or in offline or in hybrid mode, but we have been working consistently under influential leadership of INYAS Chair Dr. Chandra Shekhar Sharma. Dr. Sharma, I invite you to give a brief description of INYAS activities and initiatives. Over to you.
Thank you, Sugandha. Let me just briefly share the screen to summarize the activities of INYAS. I hope you can see the screen. All right. So Indian National Young Academy of Sciences, that stands for INYAS. And I just take this opportunity to briefly tell about the INYAS activities, especially in the last calendar year. So we were established in 2014 by INSA with an emphasis on gender diversity right from the beginning, with the 20 INSA Young Scientist Medal awardee as the founding member. And INYAS is only the established and recognized Young Scientist Academy of India as of now. So we were established with a mission of engaging in the interdisciplinary and intergenerational dialogues on scientific issues, with the vision of promoting science education and outreach, networking amongst the young scientists, supporting the young scientists in their career development, and building the scientific temperament across the country. We also do collaborate with the other young academies worldwide. So the structure of INYAS is like this. Chairperson is elected among the members for 2 years, and currently I'm chairing the INYAS. And then there is a 9-member core committee, which is again elected by the INYAS members in general body meeting. And they represent the different subject areas. And then membership is for 5 years. Currently, we are 95 members. Every year, we induct around 20 members. And after 5 years, we have now alumni. So we have currently 2 batches of alumni with the number of 33. This is the current core committee, and you can appreciate the gender balance in the core committee at the apex level in the INYAS. Some of the key initiatives of INYAS are just summarized here. NetForce meeting, which is a very unique platform for brainstorming among the young scientists. It's a fully residential 3-day meeting supported by the BSA office. We have promoted Indian science journals in terms of editing the special issues of Proceedings of INSA, Resonance, very popular science magazine by IASC. And we have also started SIPP, Scientists from India, Past and Present lecture series. We do the scientific awareness in local languages so that we can reach out to the more and more people. We do celebrate National Science Day jointly with INSA and Women's Day celebration. And technical symposiums, workshop, webinars, they are our regular activities. And we also started very innovative outreach activities at national and international level. And very fundamentally, we also do the science outreach for school and college students, and including the remote area lectures. Some of the key achievements in last 7 years journey of INYAS, that we have the representation at various science academies meetings. We have very active collaboration among the INYAS members. We represent INYAS in worldwide meetings of young academies, and also having a strong representation of INYAS in Global Young Academy, including the co-chair last year. We have a global engagement on research, and also some of our members participate in the science policy and decision making. Several of INYAS members are top science awardees, members of international journals, fellows of NASI, etc. So these are the outline of activities of INYAS. We do outreach activities targeting school students, then the training programs, workshop, webinars for the young scientists, community surveys in terms of awareness programs, especially in the last 2 years for COVID, and publications. Some of us have published the white papers on policy issues. We do the licensing with the national science academies, as well as international science academies, and like Global Young Academy, other national young academies, and scientific meetings, as I mentioned, they are the regular activity of INYAS. So in last 1 year, we have taken several new initiatives, which are summarized here. And let me just go through a very quick glimpse of these initiatives. So we started INSA INYAS Vigyan Setu webinar series, and this has started in May 2020, but ended in July 2021, where we have 15 eminent speakers, and several of our members have expressed their opinions on several platforms to make an awareness about the COVID-19. And this Vigyan Setu webinar series especially got very huge attention. You can see more than 23,000 viewers on INYA's YouTube channel. Then last year, when the vaccination started, vaccination program was rolled out by the government of India in January. There was a vaccine hesitancy in the country. We have taken this as a challenge, and we have launched a multi-pronged vaccine awareness campaign nationwide, which was launched by Secretary DST in April 2021. In this campaign, we had made myth-buster documents in several regional languages on the vaccination. We have also developed a mobile app to create the awareness on the vaccines, and also organized competitions for the school students, college students, in terms of audio and video competitions, inviting entries to popularize or have a myth-buster on the vaccine. This is another vaccine awareness program in terms of webinar, Gyan Tika. We started in February 2021, and we have very eminent speakers, including Dr. Shahid Jamil, Gagandeep Kang, Soumya Swaminathan, and so many others on this Gyan Tika webinar. We have taken several science capacity building efforts in last 1 year, especially online workshop for competitive exams, jointly with organizations like Teachers Association in Chemistry, Life Sciences, Physics, and Mathematics. We'll be glad to know that more than 6,000 registered participants were there in these workshops, and we have more than 35,000 viewers on these on our YouTube channel. These all lectures are available freely on our YouTube channel. We are working jointly with DST Rajasthan very quite closely in terms of providing the online internship for their students, and also intellectual support for policymaking for supporting women in STEM at the DST Rajasthan level. And this year, we have taken a webinar series, Popular Science Talks, in which we organized 15 popular science talks with DST Rajasthan. We formed several local chapters in later 2020. And these local chapters, the aim of these local chapters was to liaison with the local other science academy chapters and other local organizations, and to reach out the people in the local languages. And we have done several programs from all parts of the country, and many of the programs are in the local languages, like you can see here on the screen. As I said, we would like to promote the Indian science journals, and we have taken several measures for that. We have edited already 3 special issues of Proceedings of INSA, and 4th special issue is now open for the submission of the manuscripts. We have also published a special issue of Resonance, Popular Science magazine by Indian Academy of Sciences. In order to promote the Indian science further, we have started a new series, Scientists from India's Past and Present. And this year we have celebrated the achievements of eminent scientists by organizing these 2 webinars in this year. So while we promote the Indian science, we also do collaborate at international level with the Global Young Academy. And also we have taken special efforts to reach out to the neighborhood young academies, especially from the South Asia and the Asian countries. And we have organized several competitions, several outreach events with them. Currently, the International Sci-Art Image Competition, which is led by INYAS, is going on. These are some of the events jointly with the Young Academies of Nepal, Thailand, and Worldwide NYA's meeting by GYA, and STEM Asian Women meeting. As I mentioned, our INYAS members have taken a part in preparing the very white papers. So this year we published 3 white papers. First one was Impact of COVID-19 on PhD students. We have done a nationwide survey with more than 2,000 responses, and this was published by Nature India as a summary. Then we have also published Fostering Curiosity-Driven Fundamental Research in India, published by Indian Bioscience. And very recently, we have a very survey from 800 respondents in terms of career challenges for young independent researchers in India, which is published in the Current Science, that got huge attention in the scientific community. We do celebrate our annual general body meeting, and last year in 2021, we had this meeting in February 18 to 20. Like this year, we are having it 17 to 20 this year. We also started mid-year meeting to focus more on the technical aspects, and this was the second mid-year meeting in August 2021. We also organized National Science Day jointly with INSA and INYAS. So this was a National Science Day of 2021, in which we had Professor Rohini Godbole as our speaker for the public talk, and Dr. Sanjay Dhotre, Union Minister of State for Education. He has joined this occasion as the chief guest. We also started INYAS National Award for Research Excellence for PhD students last year. And this year, again, these awards are due in the National Science Day. This year, we have taken a very new initiative in terms of communicating the science, especially the PhD research, to the public. And that is called Saransh, 3-minute thesis competition. And that just ended in November. Professor Sandeep Verma has joined as a chief guest for the award ceremony. As I mentioned in the beginning, we have taken special efforts for the gender inclusiveness in INYAS right from the beginning, as you can see, right in the core committee, to the women members in the INYAS. And we also started celebrating the National Women's Science Day and a lot of Women in Science webinar series. And this year on March 8th, we are going to release a compendium on INYAS, which we call Women in INYAS members, and also going to organize a workshop on addressing the gender bias in the academia. This is the INYAS membership. And again, if you can see the INYAS membership, we have a very diversified representation. This year membership with the 22 members, we are having 10 new organizations on the board, and we are maintaining more than 30% representation of women throughout. This is our future activities. And this time we have taken a note that INYAS core committee will organize the 6 annual flagship events, January, February to November, December, as listed here. So through these activities, we are targeting to reach out to every section of the society, right from the school students to the PhD scholars, to the postdoc scholars, to the early career researchers, and especially for the young women scientists also. With this, I acknowledge our parent academy, Indian National Science Academy, and thank you to give me the opportunity to present the activities of INYAS. Over to you, Sugandha.
Thanks, Chandra, for throwing light on various activities done and initiatives taken by INYAS. I would say already a kickstart to the GBM. And this is now time for me to request Professor Devang Khakhar to address the audience. Professor Khakhar, Vice President INSA, has been former Director of Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. He is an elected fellow of all 3 Indian Science Academies, as well as Indian National Academy of Engineering. His pioneering work is well recognized by several awards, including prestigious Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, which he received in 1995. So without taking much time, I'll request him to say a few words to all present here. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me to address the GBM. And it's really a pleasure for me to be here as part of your meeting. I'm sure in due course, we will have a physical meeting, and it will be much more fun to be amongst you physically. Professor VijayRaghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor, Professor Sandeep Verma, Secretary, SERB, Professor Chandra Shekhar Sharma, Chairman, members of the Core Committee, members of INYAS, and ladies and gentlemen. INYAS is really a young organization as institutions go, about 7 years old. But the start has been really excellent. And I think you have, through the presentation made by the chair of the core committee, we can see the diversity and the intensity of the activities that are going on. But I have been sort of associated over the past year or so. And what I have noticed is, first, one of the core things that INYAS does very well is that it is selecting its members in a very nice way. And this is really important for the organization because, if you select properly, then, certainly that institution will do well. And one evidence of the fact that you are getting your selections right is that so many of the INYAS members are being recognized by prestigious awards, both national and international. You have been very active in science promotion, outreach, science dissemination, and I think this is really having an impact. Your enthusiasm and energy, I think, is certainly going to bring more people into science, which is something that's really needed. The white papers that you are doing are also excellent. I had a chance to read in detail 2 of them. The one on curiosity-driven fundamental research, I thought that was really excellent. And more recently, the survey that you have done on early career scientists, I think that is also a really valuable contribution. And I'm sure that with PSA and Secretary SERB, here, I'm sure that that message is going to get across, because it's really important to address some of the issues that you have raised. So for all that you have been doing, my congratulations. My congratulations to the chair and his core team, as well as all the members. And I want to wish you all the best for continuing this effort and maybe even doing more. If you look at the growth of Indian science, it's accelerating. That means more and more people are joining science, and most of those who are joining at a younger age. So you can say that the population of young scientists as a fraction of the total population of scientists in India is really increasing rapidly. I think INYAS is providing leadership for this community, and it is also highlighting issues that are being faced by the young scientists. I'm sure that your efforts will go a long way in not only helping those who are joining the science and research careers in the near future, but they will have an important impact on the growth of Indian science in general. So again, thank you very much for calling me, and I wish you all the best for a very successful time ahead.
Thanks a lot, Professor, for encouraging remarks and appreciating the efforts of INYAS. Thanks also for being closely involved with our white papers and spending time to forward to living up to your expectations and keep working ahead. Thank you so much for your words. We are fortunate to have with us Professor Sandeep Verma, Secretary of Science and Engineering Research Board. He has been associated to Department of Chemistry at Indian Institute of Technology for long, beginning 1997. He has also several awards to his credit, including Shantisur Bhatnagar Award awarded to him in 2010. He is an elected fellow of all 3 science academies. Professor Verma, may I request you to address the audience, please?
Thank you very much for those words of introduction and a very kind invitation to be part of this 7th General Body Meeting of INYAS. Professor VijayRaghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor Khakhar, Vice President INSA, Professor Sharma, who is Chair of INYAS core committee members, and dear friends. It is indeed a momentous occasion that we are all joined this afternoon to come together and deliberate about INYAS and have a general body meeting. And I'm very happy to share a few thoughts that I've accumulated over a period of time about INYAS. First of all, I think we were all quite impressed with the presentation Professor Sharma made, which gave an excellent overview of what INYAS has been doing for past several years, since its inception basically, and how well they have connected to the scientific community within India at all age groups. I mean, I'm not, although you are a young academy, but over these years, I think I had the opportunity to interact with several of your fellows. We have had physical meetings in my office, and I've been always amazed by the energy and the ideas that have come in last so many years, including the time when we were grappling with the corona. You have had nice webinar series where I also attended a few, and that sort of gave us an impression that not only it is an aggregation of excellent young scientists, engineers, innovators, but you are also interacting with the community at large. You are bringing the science communication to the doorstep, or rather the desktops of our communities, and they also get to see your energy, your enthusiasm, and your infectious attitude to do things in a different way, right? So some of us who are down the food cycle, getting a bit older, we see that there is a hope when you do things in a different way. And the kind of work that you have done, the kind of white papers you have created, more recently your article in Current Science, that also tells us that there is definitely a deep thought process, a think tank like feature that is emerging out of INYAS, and which is very, very important and very encouraging for me per se to see that such kind of ideation would exist, and you have put it in words. You have put it in words so nicely, backed up with data. And of course, we look forward to many more such white papers, such ideas, as well as articles that would give future directions. Having said this, there have been few requests from my side on and off, because some of us do correspond over social media, that when you look at the INYAS membership, I made a remark some time back that please also include young innovators from startups, right? At the moment, we are looking at universities, institutions. You have gone across, you have gone to universities and also populated with those youngsters, even at the level of associate fellows, who could be from state schools, who could be from colleges, who have definite potential with your hand holding. Of course, you would be of the same group, definitely, but some direction could be given to such individuals, including making it more inclusive, bringing in people who have done excellently in creating unicorns, or they have done very well in creating these startups. So that would give a flavor that would be more encompassing, and it would also bring fresh ideas. When you go from research and development more towards innovation or more towards translation, that is required. As we look at numerous missions that have been planned by offices of PSA, DST, DBT, CSIR, and MOES, so many of these organizations, including the quantum mission that is on the anvil, the cyber physical systems. Of course, these things would be important as we move. And of course, one thing has not escaped my attention, that we are celebrating the 7th GBM in Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav year. And one thing that, of course, did not escape my attention is that if you look at what Honorable Prime Minister has said, that we are entering the Amrit Kal, the next 25 years of our journey towards the centenary of our independence, next 25 years. So if I look at all of you, you are populating my screen at the moment. This is what the Amrit Kal would look like, because next 25 years, you are the ones who would carry the flame forward. And when you are at my age, about to retire or whatever, right, you would be seeing the centenary celebrations. You would see what, as Honorable Prime Minister said, Sankalp se Siddhi, the Sankalp that you would take today to move science and technology in a given direction, and its culmination in 2047, Siddhi. That is going to be something truly remarkable. I hope I'll be around to see that happen. And looking at your faces, looking at your commitment, looking at the way you have been pushing the envelope, pushing the agenda forward, I have no doubt that INYAS would be an organization to reckon with in 2047 and beyond. So please do keep up the good work. And anything that we can do from SERB side or SERB-DST interface side, we'll be very happy to assist you, walk with you towards your goal. With these words, I close, and I wish all the best to each one of you, to INYAS and your extended community for this particular GBM and your journey beyond. Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot, Professor Verma, for sharing your thoughts. And our energy as young and relatively new academy increases multifold with the encouragement received from you. And we would like to express it in multifold activities that we plan to do in the forthcoming years. We shall definitely take into account the inclusiveness that you talked about. Of course, we will take it into consideration and try to crystallize it. And thanks for your special remark on Amrit Kal. And we would like to do our best and proceed in the direction as expected from all of you. Thanks a lot for your kind words. It's time to hear from our chief guest, Professor VijayRaghavan. Professor VijayRaghavan, as we know, is Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India with effect from 2018. He is an Emeritus Professor and former Director of National Center for Biological Sciences. Also, he is a Fellow of the Royal Society and Foreign Associate of the US National Academy of Sciences. Including being the recipient of Padma Shri Award that was conferred upon him in 2013. We can't wait anymore to hear from him. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Maheshwari. It's a great honor to be here and a great pleasure to have listened to all our colleagues today. I will first of all congratulate INYAS, and one of the key tests for the success of an organization is a deletion assay, and to ask if the organization were absent, would we notice? We would certainly notice that of INYAS. We may not notice INSA's absence, but we will notice INYAS's absence. And I'll come to that topic a little bit more. And the reason I say this is you are certainly a breath of fresh air in the kinds of discussions you've brought in the kinds of interactions, in the composition of your academy, and all that is very, very valuable, and congratulations. But I would like to use my time to address some of the major challenges facing these kinds of academies in the modern context of science, and therefore why INYAS as a young academy and INSA and Indian Academy of Sciences, NASI, the Engineering Academy, and so on need to have a different perspective, so that when the deletion test is done on them, their value and your value both are much, much greater. Now, the problems facing the way academies function is not an internal problem alone. It's a problem which comes about because of the way science and engineering and medicine have shaped up over the last, say, 75 years. 75 years ago, and a little before that, the world was very small. Even though if you post a letter, it took 7 days to reach London, or 14 days and then to come back. If you wrote a letter to your best colleagues every day, you got back replies every day, and you were in constant touch well before the internet age. But the numbers of excellent people were small in number, and therefore you could be in touch with the best people in the world. Since then, as science became institutionalized, we have gone to a situation where the numbers of excellent people have grown exponentially. Therefore, let's say in 1930, if there were a few hundred excellent people in any given area, maybe tens in any given area, you could be in touch with all of them. But being excellent itself was a relatively random choice of luck with an individual, and those individuals were typically well-to-do families or gentlemen scientists, usually very few women, and that was the situation. As institutionalization grew, the numbers of scientists grew, and as excellent institutions grew, the number of excellent scientists grew. So the wall of excellence typically from excellent institutions, typically in the West, are heavily populated. In that heavily populated wall of excellence, two things happen. In countries like India, where numbers of excellent institutions of world standards are few, the likelihood of large numbers of people populating that wall of excellence is low. And therefore, even though there are no shortage of excellent scientists, they are not a large fraction of the pool of excellence in the world. Now then let's look at academies. Science academies in the West, which you were guaranteed to get elected 40, 50, 60 years ago if you are excellent, have changed dramatically. There are no shortage of really superb people who do not, cannot, and will not get elected because academies are stuck in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, saying they'll elect only these many people. And since they elect only a small number of people each year, a very large number of people get left out. And therefore, academies are no longer the exclusive repository or representation of quality. There's no shortage of quality outside academies. And therefore, being elected to an academy should clearly be a representative honor and not an individual honor anymore. You have a duty as after being elected to represent the community and forget completely about you being the cause of being elected. That is not so. You represent your students, your postdocs, your institutions, groups of institutions, your theme, and so on and so forth. And your particular election is just a representative one. You're no big deal. There are lots of people, bigger deals than you outside the academy, whether it's a young academy or old academy. But this mindset has to change. Academies, however, haven't changed that mindset. They think once they've got into the railway compartment, their principal job is to filter and prevent others from getting into the railway compartment. And by definition, those who are inside, the few which come in every year, are of high quality, and those who are outside are not. So this attitude needs to go. This attitude has gone in many engineering academies and also in many engineering organizations. For example, the IEEE will have fellows. It also has members, which have a huge number, but it also knows that there are quality people outside. The snootiness of membership is less so in engineering and more so in science academies, and more so in those science academies which have less reason to be snooty. So this is the situation which we need to change. Now look at what science academies do. If you look at the science academies in the West, if you look at the Royal Society or the US National Academy of Sciences or the Leopoldina Academy, and what they do in terms of their interaction with the outside world, it's enormous. How do they do that? Most of the core money they have is spent in running their executive office of a high quality. Then the fellows who come and go are irrelevant. The council members who come and go are irrelevant. They look at the theme, what is going on, what is important, and the executive is really of high quality, which runs the academy office, interacting with the outside community. So all their reports are done largely by commissioning people from outside, top quality experts. Here, what do? Largely, I mean, it's very difficult to say largely, because there are almost no reports of any consequence from INSA or the Indian National Science, from the Indian Academy of Sciences or anyone else. They're literally, you can count on a handful. When you ask them, they will say, oh, but there was this report in 1945 and this report in 2010 and this report in 2000. This is not the way academies should function, whether it's one or the other. They should be bringing out quality reports of deep dives, and then it's not possible for them to do it with the current structure. So they need to have a strong executive office, work with the ecosystem and do that. How does the US National Academy of Sciences do this? First of all the science and engineering academies have a joint office. There's the Academy of Medicine, the Academy of Engineering, and the Academy of Sciences. They have a US National Academies office. Then they have a National Research Council. And this National Research Council is commissioned to take on and do these projects very, very frequently. And they get project support from different kinds of agencies, different organizations. But the core support is principally to run the academy offices. Unless we change this model, we're going to be struggling really hard. We're going to be constantly admonished to do something more, and we're going to be overworked trying to do that, and we're going to be unable to do it. I mean, look at Resonance, a top quality magazine, right? I mean, it's really very good. The articles are very good, something to be proud of. But is this Resonance being published in the 21st century or in the 20th century? If you go to the Resonance site, you will get a PDF version. Why can't you get a marked up version, an HTML version where we can search and look at everything else? Why is Resonance partnering with Springer Per Lakh when all of the publications of many major academies are done by companies in India? Our journals are done by companies in India. Why can't Resonance get a top quality, marked up publication which is easily accessible? Why can't Resonance be there in at least one more language, if not 2 or 3 more? Otherwise, you're speaking to an echo chamber. All this is feasible. And what do academies say when you ask them to do that? They say, oh, but we don't have enough funds. But have they applied for project support for these kinds of things? No. And when asked to do so, they don't do that. And why don't they do that? Because this matter goes up to their council, and councils are groups of people who will regress to the mean in every decision, especially if it's an older council. The INYAS council will do that less so than the INSA council, and the INSA council will do it less so than a higher body council. The older you get, councils are more and more useless, and they will regress to the mean, and they would much rather do something they've been continuing for the last 1,000 years than to do anything slightly different. Right? And this is a situation which is difficult to come out of because these are structures which are old, and they're difficult to come out of because every time there's a new INSA president, my office writes to them saying, why don't you address these issues? And by the time they even discuss them, they're out. So the INSA functioning, the Indian Academy functioning, the NASI functioning seems to be heavily dependent on who the president is. And the president seems to be dysfunctional because they have to get something done in what they think is a short time, 3 years, and they don't get it done. Whereas if you have a strong executive office of quality, it doesn't matter who the president is. And the Indian National Academy of Engineering has done a good job of that. They interact hugely with the community. They come up with programs. They work with government. They work outside government. And they push programs in a lot of ways. So engineers, as I said, are less snooty and want to get things done. And rather than have committee meetings to elect more fellows, and to keep out more non-fellows. So unless we change all of this, and unless all of you as INSA, when you grow up, are different, we are going to have more of the same. This talk could have been delivered 50 years ago in slightly different technical detail, but it's essentially, the same kind of talk. We have a great danger. I mean, Resonance is an exception. It reaches out. But frankly, Resonance is a magazine which could have been brought out by anyone. It doesn't need an academy to bring it out. A group of quality people could have brought it up. So also the other journals, given their quality. If it had disproportionate reach and disproportionate impact, which only the academy could do, terrible. So I would conclude by saying that, we fundamentally need to change our view about the roles of academies, the roles of what a membership means, and what being outside means. There's equal value in being in INSA as being in OUTSA, or in INYAS as being in OUTYAS. There are quality people there much better than us. And it's they whom we serve through our efforts. And how does one connect to quality science, spread the footprint of science in the light of a large growth in the scientific enterprise is the biggest challenge. And for that, we have to work with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raghavan, for your inputs, guiding INYAS family for various things, I would say. So you talked about parameters of excellence, and you also highlighted the responsibilities that lie on our shoulders as members, as representative of bigger community than we actually realize. Thanks for bringing our attention to a very different scenario of institutions and academies, which we are generally aware of, but really tend not to really good to hear from you how working together in a bigger zone, in a wholesome ecosystem is important for an overall growth. You also threw light on importance of quality reports and effectively working offices. So all these points are really good for the inputs given by you are really taken up by us, and let's see how we can proceed with these. We are very thankful to you for sharing these thoughts with us, and we'll try our best that firstly we do not show our absence as you marked in the beginning of your words, and at the same time we'll also look for working for a larger system to improvise even further. Thanks a lot for your words. So, having said that, the proceedings of INYAS for the last calendar year compiled in annual newsletter, they are awaiting for release from our guests today. My colleagues are already Dr. Rohini and Dr. Rajendra Dhaka. I guess we can see them. Yeah. So they are at the respective offices of Professor Sandeep Verma and Professor VijayRaghavan is. I cannot see on screen if. Yeah, Dr. Rajendra is here at office of Professor VijayRaghavan, and you are requested to release INYAS annual newsletter.
Be the chair and sit down.
Here we have the copy seen on the screen, and I would say that's a celebration moment indeed. With this, may I also request Professor Khakhar to release digital version of the Hindi translation of our newsletter.
Okay. No, I have what I seem to have is the English version. How do I?
If you, Professor Khakhar, I have shared a presentation slide, and if you can share that, there is a link.
So I use that link, and I'm getting the English version. Let me share what you sent me.
Can you share the screen, and then I think there are two links. I sent today morning. Today morning, I have sent you the new PPT.
So there is one link, Hindi language newspaper.
Yes.
Okay, so when I click on this.
Can you share the screen, Professor Khakhar?
Yes, I'm doing that. So this is it.
Yeah, this is English. I think there is one Hindi link also.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that I have one link. It says this is the Hindi language link using this PPT direct link here. Yeah, this is the only link I have to this. Perhaps you can
Let me
do it and.
It's really terrific, by the way, that you have the newsletter in multiple languages. Congratulations.
Thank you. So this is Hindi.
Terrific. You should tell the Indian Academy of Sciences to publish resonance in same number of languages at least.
Thank you, sir. So in fact, on Science Day, we are going to release 10 more regional languages translation of the newsletter.
Very good. Good. So congratulations again. Sorry for the glitch in this.
It's okay, sir.
But
Congratulations.
very good that you're doing this.
Yeah, terrific. Congratulations.
So thank you, Professor Khakhar, Professor Verma, and Professor VijayRaghavan for doing the needful. It's indeed a player moment to see wonderful compilation of this newsletter. And thanks to our CC member, Dr. Rohini, for heading this. Editors, Dr. Praveen Sharma, and co-editors, Dr. Twijendra Pandey and Dr. Prashant Kumar, for all the efforts they have put in to come out with this newsletter. And I now request Dr. Rajni to give a formal vote of thanks before we end the session.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to present vote of thanks to this August gathering of this accelerating session. I thank our chief guest, Professor K. VijayRaghavan, Principal Secretary Advisor, Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, especially for the do's and don'ts for our academy to stay relevant in his speech. I thank guest of honor, Professor Sandeep Verma, Secretary SERB, for his very inspiring presentation and energizing words. I thank guest of honor, Professor Devang Khakhar, Vice President INSA, for really a very personal note on the pride as having us as INSA's offshoot. I thank all of you for your time and interest and for releasing INYAS's annual newsletter. I thank Chair INYAS Dr. Chandra Shekhar Sharma from IIT Hyderabad, the convener of the session, Dr. Sugandha Maheshwari from ISER Moholi, and INYAS office for all the logistics and all the audience who made the session really exciting. I request all of you now to raise for national anthem.
With this, we come to end of the session. Thanks everyone once again for joining, and we look forward to meeting you in the next session where we are going to have an interesting panel discussion. So bye for now and see you all at 6.
এই কি ব্যাপার তোর? তো হয়ে গেছে আমার মিটিং, আসবি নাকি করবি না ঘুমাবি? এই